Welcome to Sold with Webinars, a podcast that aims to uncover how the most successful experts, coaches, consultants, and e-course professionals sell their products and services with just one sales presentation or webinar. A simple sales webinar can transform the business and life of a solopreneur. And this podcast will show you how other experts just like you are generating 6 and 7 figures per year online with their webinars. So let's get started. Hey, what's going on? It's Joel here with Sold Webinars, and welcome to another episode. Holy crap, you are going to freaking love this episode. I just got off my interview with John Nemo. He calls himself Finding John Nemo, and we had such a blast. Now, John had connected with me probably about 5 or 6 months ago, and he said, "Hey man, love your podcast. I just thought you might be interested. I'm getting 100 free webinar registrations per day using a simple strategy on LinkedIn." And at the time, I don't know if I just forgot about the email or just got lost in the sea of email, but I didn't follow up with him until recently. And I'm like, oh man, I need to get him on the show. And oh man, I am kicking myself for not getting him on, sooner. Oh man. So, there's always this constant struggle with paid traffic versus free traffic. And how do we get more webinar registrations? Well, John is averaging 1 to 2 sales per day with free traffic on an automated webinar selling a $1,500 product using LinkedIn, which is completely automated too, by the way. And so you guys are going to freaking love this episode. I mean, I dove deep into the tactics. John revealed everything, and he's just an all-star. So it's super grateful for him and super grateful that you are tuning in, because you are not going to want to miss this episode. Take notes, sit back, relax, and prepare to have your head absolutely explode. Enjoy this episode, and we'll talk soon. John, welcome to the show, man. I'm super pumped to have you.
Oh, you found Nemo, Joe. I think I could take this act on the road. That stupid animated movie has helped people remember my last name, which is, in marketing, you have to be memorable. People will never forget now, Nemo. So thanks. I'm honored to be on. I'm a big fan of the podcast and of you. So this is great. I'm glad to be here, bud. Appreciate
it, man. So do me a favor. Let's start this off like we normally do with all of our episodes. Give us a quick 2 to 3 minute background of who's Nemo. I'm going to stop saying that. That's. I don't want to be sound gimmicky, but who's John? What makes you so amazing, and why am I so freaking excited to interview you about this episode?
Well, it all started on a snowy day in 1975. Is that too much background? My birth year? Okay, sorry. Okay, so very quick version. The Cliff Notes. Grew up as the son of 2 English teachers, a huge fan of storytelling, books, reading, hero's journey, all these things that eventually will play into my webinar journey. But anyway, grew up professionally trained as a journalist. So I worked for the Associated Press. I worked for the Arizona Republic newspapers, got into talk radio, got into then public relations. Back in 2012, I went out on my own. I just wanted to be on my own. I was done with corporate red tape. I was done with meetings. I was done with bosses. And so I launched my own marketing agency back in 2012 and really didn't have anything other than one client, enough money for 30 days. And I have 3 young boys at home and a wife. And I'm like, I need to get some business here. I took the leap. I quit the day job. And what I did was I was able to find a unique use for LinkedIn all the way back, back in 2012 to really grow and build a business, finding clients, closing deals, getting, my marketing agency going. Eventually, so many of my clients were saying, "Hey, I loved the way that you found me on LinkedIn and marketed to me. Can you do that for us? Help us get clients." And of course I can, right? So eventually I was doing that for clients. I got tired of the marketing agency. I was starting to have meetings again. I was starting to have red tape and all. I was like, this is no way. I don't want to do this. And then I heard about online courses. And as the son of 2 teachers, of course, this appealed to me. I was like, oh my God, I could teach people, make way more money than my parents ever did, in college as university professors. And so I launched my first online course, LinkedIn Rich, is back, I think, in 2014 or so. Started realizing the best way to sell that and grow it was, using my tried and true LinkedIn formula, but getting people onto webinars, right? So then eventually I folded up the marketing agency, put that away. And now what I do full time is I create and sell online courses on LinkedIn on how to use webinars, other things, content marketing, and all of my marketing, is free. I don't spend any money on Facebook ads, paid traffic, SEO. All of it, the bulk of it is still done through LinkedIn every single day. And we'll get into all the tactics, but really I'm able to make 1 to 2 sales a day of my online courses while I'm out walking the dog because it's all automated. I'm a big fan of what you've done, Joel, Russell Brunson stuff, all kinds of tools and tactics, but really understanding how to use LinkedIn. And we probably should start there. Like, LinkedIn, like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, that's for HR people and job seekers. You're using it for webinars? Like, it's such a fundamental shift. But that's the quick, 3-minute introduction to my world.
That's awesome. I want to take a step back because I always like to go deep into how we got here, right? So in 2012, you started a marketing agency. What were you specifically doing? Like, what type of marketing agency and what clients were you serving? Because eventually you discovered LinkedIn, but like, what was your core purpose there?
So I had been working in the public relations world for a couple of years prior to quitting the day job. And one of the niches I had worked in was a trade association for your friend and mine, Joel, debt collectors. Not that you've ever gotten any calls, Mr. Irway. I'm sure you've never received one of those calls for an overdue bill. But I had to run PR for debt collectors for the National Trade Association. And I'll tell you this, there's a lot of them that are really good people. Of course, there's slime balls too. But what I saw was a huge need for marketing help, website design, press releases, email marketing, getting clients. And so when I quit, the best advice I got from my brother-in-law, who's an entrepreneur, he's like, the riches are in the niches. Like, don't open a marketing agency and try to be everything to everybody. Yes, you have the skills to do that. But so I started very small. I said, I'm just going to become the debt collection agency marketing guy. And so my whole story, my whole spiel was, I know your industry. I know your world. I've walked in your shoes. I worked for your trade association. I get you. Let me help you with marketing. Let me get you a win, help you get clients, help you make money through building your website, doing press releases, making marketing videos. And so I found all these guys on LinkedIn. And so in the first 90 days of opening this marketing agency, only targeting this tiny slice of people, debt collectors, I got over 6 figures in revenue in new marketing clients, right? For website builds and things like that. And I was off and running. And that was one of the core things I learned about marketing in general, but especially with LinkedIn, was the riches were in the niches. And so that's really where I was headed. And then I veered off into wanting more time and freedom. And that's where the online courses came in.
Okay. So fast forward to 2014, 2015. This is when you really started to, is this when you discovered webinars, or is this, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, I had done them for years. And so what I had seen was I loved the idea of, create it once and sell it over and over and over again. And I loved the scalability of, I can find people all over the world and do what both my English teacher parents did, which was teach them a tactic, a technique, something, and then I could sell to them at the end as a natural, value extension, continue the relationship. And so I started, like a lot of people, just completely fumbling around. I was doing live webinars with like a squeaky voice and like, okay, thanks for coming on. I hope, and I had like the classic thing. Here's where it really got interesting. So for the first couple of years, and I know you recommend this too, I started with live webinars, right? I started with live and learned a ton. But Joel, it was so deflating some days, pre-scheduling everything and having like 3 people on. And you have to have your energy up and you have to deliver. And then inevitably, like, it's like, 3 people that never intended to buy or whatever, they dropped off. And so eventually then I discovered hybrid webinars where I could come on live, warm up the room, call people out by name. Hey, Joe, I'm Poughkeepsie, blah, blah, blah. How's the weather today? Then I could hit a button with Webinar Jam to play a recorded presentation, sit back, run the chat, answer questions, launch polls, launch the offer, come on at the end, do a live Q&A. I was like, this is pretty sweet, right? This is even better. Then I discovered the wonderful world of automated webinars. And that's when I really got into the nitty gritty and built this webinar funnel out where I understood from doing live webinars for 2 years what the common questions, objections, journeys, needs were for this topic. And then understanding, address all those up front on the webinar. Then my thing at the end to still have a live point of contact was I can talk to you live. And this is more a tactic thing, but I would have a live chat feature So anywhere I am on my phone, walking the dog, whatever, if I get a live chat notification, you're on the sales page for a $1,500 product. I don't mind talking to you for 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, you pre-qualified yourself through the whole funnel. And so, so I love webinars, man. I love them. I've bought every webinar training out there. I love your podcast. And I mean, I've done, the other thing I would say too, to the audience, especially if you're new to webinars, is like, it's a lot of work. Like I've done 60 to 70 iterations of the same LinkedIn Riches webinar. That's a lot of time, right? At 69 minutes, like, it's not easy. But once you get it figured out, oh my goodness, it's the gift that keeps on giving. So yeah, I'm a huge fan.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, I mean, the thing with you talked about content marketing. Mainly, the thing with webinars, and the reason why webinars work so well, it's like the ultimate form of content marketing, right? There's no such thing as breaking the laws of marketing, meaning like everyone wants to be able to sell a $10,000 product on the first action with them. It's like people need to they need to know, like, and trust you. The only way to develop that is for them to, the best way for them to do that is to get them to spend time with you, which is what happens on the webinar. And you're teaching them, you're giving them content, you're building that trust value. And so, I mean, that's why it works so well. So I'm going to fast forward now and get into the real tactic of LinkedIn, because there's lots of strategies out there, and Facebook ads, which strong majority of probably my audience, they've tested Facebook ads and they work, they don't work. I mean, like, it's this constant fluctuation. Now there's a big push for YouTube ads and all these other things, but LinkedIn messaging is completely untapped. I mean, I have a profile. I hired a firm a couple of years ago to do some outreach on LinkedIn, and I fear that like they really killed my brand. So I kind of just kept.
It was not me. For all the listeners.
No, it wasn't you.
It was not me, Joel.
It was not you.
I didn't submarine your LinkedIn efforts.
No.
But I'm going to save you. I'll fix you.
Yeah. So it wasn't you. It's fine. But so I've just been kind of quiet on there.
Yeah.
So explain to us now, like, when did you come up with this idea of leveraging this? Like, how'd you come up with the idea of, so the idea is LinkedIn cold outreach messaging to drive signups for your webinar, right?
Yeah. So let's start here. Let's start with a lay of the land for LinkedIn, because I find this in itself is where we need to start. So you've got LinkedIn right now here today, as we talk on this broadcast, 550 million members around the world, 200 different countries. 2 new members are joining every single second. Okay. It is obviously the number one place in the world for professionals of all shapes and sizes to congregate. The big value in LinkedIn is not finding a job, hiring an employee, which is, of course, what it's best known for. It is the world's largest searchable database for your ideal customers, because LinkedIn indexes every single piece of content on that platform. So I can go into LinkedIn search, and one of my target markets that I sell a lot to is business coaches. I can type in a Boolean search for business coaches and instantly have 5,000 within 50 miles of my house that I can quote market to. Now, the secret sauce with LinkedIn messaging is it's free to connect with people, right? And once I connect with you, Joel, we can do unlimited back and forth one-on-one messaging. And what I do is, the very simple strategy is, I find a business coach I want to sell my course to, I connect with them, and then I engage in a one-on-one personalized marketing using automation plus, some personal touch. And the thing about LinkedIn you have to understand is, using automation tools and search filters, I can find a business coach living in a certain city or who went to a certain university and have all these icebreakers right away. So for instance, this is how LinkedIn search might work, Joel. Say I want to find business coaches that went to the University of Minnesota, where I live in Minneapolis, okay? So I can find, let's say, 500 business coaches in Minneapolis. I can send a automated one-on-one personal message right away. Hey, Joe. Hey, Sally. Hey, Fred. It's all automation. Hope you're surviving spring, allegedly, here in Minnesota. See, you went to the University, U of M. Goal first, right? That's how we talk in Minnesota. We got to accent the O. But we can immediately build the know, like, and trust, Joel. I'm having fun. I'm warming you up. It's not businessy.
Mm-hmm.
This is the big psychology. Before I get to the tactics, the big psychology of LinkedIn invitations and one-on-one messages is it needs to be conversational. It needs to be like a coffee meeting. It needs to be chatty to a small degree. It's not meant to be business speak, corporate speak, marketing speak. It's meant to be, hey, Joel, would love to reach out to connect. I see you're a business coach here in the Twin Cities. I see you went to the University of Minnesota. Go Gophers. Cheers, let's connect, right? And then When you connect with me now, I can pivot and send you that one-on-one message. And the other thing is my profile page, right? This is really home base for LinkedIn. Is you've got to start. There's three things if you want to use LinkedIn to fill up your webinars. One is you got to have a killer profile page, which is basically your website, right? Like the first thing I'm going to do if I get an invite from Joel Irway on LinkedIn is go look at Joel's profile page. And what does his profile page look like? Is it all about Joel? Is it written in the third person, like Joel is a celebrity superstar? Joel Irway has been featured in such places as Forbes magazine and has also done this and this. Like, here's the thing, as we know, Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Our ideal clients and customers don't care about us. They care about themselves, morning, noon, and after supper. All right. Here's where I'm going to drop a link in for your audience. Go to linkedinriches.com/Joel, and you're going to get my PDF on how to create a killer profile. It's copy and paste, fill in the blanks. Here's what you need to do. You rewrite your LinkedIn profile to be what I call client facing. What we do, how we do it, who we serve, what our clients say. And I use these little phrases. And so what we do at Sold With Webinars, we help online course creators, entrepreneurs, and small business owners understand how to utilize webinars to get something they want, right? To generate sales and book client appointments. How we do it. We pour in over 10 years of research and expertise and, these types of results to, deliver the best content possible. What others say. Using Joel's course, I made this much money, blah, blah, blah. Like that's a killer profile right there, isn't it? So if I get an invite from Joel Irway and I'm an online course creator on LinkedIn and I look at his profile, that's step one. I go, this guy can help me. I want to talk to him. Step two then is the prospecting, okay? You have to know how to use LinkedIn's search engine to find your ideal prospects. And this is where we type in someone, we search by job title, CEO, CFO, business coach, health coach, whatever it is, entrepreneur, small business owner, bakery owner, whatever it is you want to reach out to, you can get that nuance. And I only want to reach people in this zip code or people who went to this college. So then you prospect and create for free, again, a list of your ideal prospects. Step three then is the profiting. I start building these quick one-on-one relationships with one-on-one messages. And the way LinkedIn's one-on-one message system works is it's like text messaging. So it's back and forth. It's just like texting with someone on your iPhone, Joel. LOL, BFF, whatever you want to say. They even have emojis built in. You can emoji people. You can gift people. And what I do is I have fun with it. And I showcase personality. And what I do, I have a very specific script for the webinars that I use that we can get into when you're ready. But it basically then reaches people one-on-one, personally, directly in their LinkedIn inbox, and they get alerts on their phone and on their home email that they signed up for LinkedIn with. This guy, John Nemo, sent me a message. There's no money involved. It's very, very important. The content of the message, it's not salesy, it's not spammy, it's not sleazy. It's targeted to them. It's trying to bring them some free value up front. And it's also conversational enough to say, if you're not interested, no worries, have a great one. And when you do this, Joel, at scale with automation, and like I was telling you before we started taping, I've got 18,000 connections on LinkedIn now. And with the automation tools I use, I can message 1,000 a day instantly, this script, right?
So I want to pause real quick. Unbelievable stuff, by the way. Fascinating.
I saw your mind exploding, actually. Can people see?
Yeah, I had to piece it back together. Like I had to grab it because it got so big. I'm like, no.
The experts have been unleashed.
That's right. So there's 3 steps, right? Number 1, you have to have a killer profile page.
Yes.
Number 2, you start to prospect, target your ideal customers. And then number 3, you create the messages, right?
Yes.
So the thing that I want to kind of focus on is like, before we get into the numbers and the stats, like that's really important. And we'll share it in just a second.
Yeah,
I want people to understand that so you've got 18, one thing that I'm curious, so we said 18,000 current connections, right? How often are you reaching back out to those connections versus prospecting with new? Like, I just want to get clear.
Yes, great question. So here's what I do every day. I find 100 new ideal prospects that I automatically invite to connect. So with those filters, hey, you live in Minneapolis, I see you went to this college, would love to connect. What I do with the automation software is every new lead I connect with on LinkedIn gets a tag assigned to them. Business coach, Minneapolis, CEO, New York City, whatever it is, right? So then using the automation software, I have a big internal CRM that's built into this automation tool, which can explain to everybody later how to get it. And then what I do, Joel, is about every 2 to 3 weeks, I circle back to an existing group of connections. Okay. So Joel and I connect right off the bat. I break the ice. I message with you. I try to get you on the webinar. Or maybe I go a little slower. I slow my roll and I try to offer you a lead magnet, how to create a killer profile, or how to sell on LinkedIn, a video training, whatever it might be. Either way, if you don't buy that first initial time, you get put into another group, right? Tagged just like an email list. Here's all my business coaches.
When you say buy, do you mean actually just
go on the webinar and buy it? Yeah.
Okay. So you mean actually purchasing the course? Or I thought you were still like prospecting.
Purchasing the course. Yeah. Yep. So what I do is I'm able to tag them, and then 2 or 3 weeks later, I will circle back to them. I track all this with Basecamp and different calendars and project management software, so I know how often I've messaged somebody. So I can see, okay, I connected with Joe, the business coach, on this day. He didn't buy yet, so 2 to 3 weeks later, I'm going to send him a lead magnet, right? Something else to try to get him on my email list to warm him up more, right? To send him a bunch of automated emails about LinkedIn tips, re-invite him to the webinar, re-invite him to another offer. So about every 2 to 3 weeks, I message those existing 18,000 connections. I run through a cycle and I change up the message. The key is something different of value. And I've got enough lead magnets that I can do that. There's other things that you can do too if you don't have a ton of content to use, but that's what works best is, hey, are you looking to do XYZ? If so, I've got a great, free piece of content I can share to help you achieve that. Just reply yes to this message and I'll shoot you a link. If you're not interested, no worries. Very conversational. And again, then people write back, yes. Copy, paste. Here's a link to the landing page, the lead magnet, the webinar. Off we go.
It's a pretty complex system once you start to get evolved, meaning like a follow-up system in the whole 9 yards. Cool.
But it's pretty easy. I mean, the thing about it is with the automation software I use, it's called Meet Leonard. MeetLeonard.com is the company. And by the way, there's tons of automation tools. There's tons of them. Linked Helper, LinMail Pro. I like Meet Leonard because it's got, am I in trouble?
Second. No, you're not in trouble.
Okay.
It's regarding Meet Leonard. Is that related to Meet Edgar? Like, what is with this? I've never heard of Meet.
I don't know. I don't know. I call him Lenny for short, Joel. No, the guy, I know all the people behind this stuff because I'm a LinkedIn trainer and I have books and all this. So I know them all. And he's an entrepreneur from Australia, has his own software company. He thought it would be fun to create an avatar or a character. And Leonard's going to be like your virtual butler on LinkedIn. He's going to serve up your leads. And so anyway, when I send out my 100 invites a day to my ideal prospects, Leonard tags them for me. So once they accept my invite, they get dumped into the CRM, listed as a business coach. Now, 3 weeks later, I can go in the CRM and say, pull up all my business coaches. There's my 1,000 business coaches I've connected with over the last 3 weeks. I'm going to send them all a one-on-one note automatically. Hit start, go. When they reply and engage, myself or my VA goes in, copies and pastes in responses, right? Now, this is just one tactic. There's tons of other tactics with LinkedIn, but this is the most direct, the most one-on-one, the most personal, and it gets the best results.
Awesome. Amazing, man. I love it. Okay. So let's talk numbers now.
Yeah.
Right? So grand scheme of things. So you mentioned earlier, you said part of your system is reach out to 100 new cold leads a day, or is it 1,000?
Yeah. So this is the confusion, right? So LinkedIn, it's like the 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon game with movies, right? Like first, second, third level connections. Okay. You and I have to be first level connected. We have to be together, Joel. We have to be together. Out of those, so I invite 100 people a day to connect with me, outbound, right? I find you on search and I invite you to connect. Once you accept that, then you go into my pot of 18,000 existing first level people. I also get tons of inbound people coming to me going, hey, I found your profile. I want to connect. I add those to the 18,000. So 100 a day is adding new connections. You want to be connected to as many people as you can because the way LinkedIn works, all their friends see you and want to connect, et cetera, et cetera. But once you build, it's like building an email list, right? I'm getting 100 new subscribers a day that I'm trying to add to this group, plus inbound ones, right?
Yep.
Now I've got these 18,000 subscribers, let's call them, inside my LinkedIn connections. Then I message 1,000 of them a day. So every 18 days, I go through all my connections. Because the limits with LinkedIn messaging, to be safe, you don't want to do more than 1,000 messages a day. LinkedIn can get a little agitated about thinking you're trying to spam and software stuff. So that's what I do. So I message 1,000 people a day that have already connected with me. So they're already warmed up. They've already looked at my profile. And that's then where I ask them to go to the webinar.
Cool. All right. So what does the outbound message look like for the 100 people?
So the outbound message is just a simple invite to connect, right? Because I just got to get you to accept my invite before I can send you one-on-one messages. So that might be, hey, Joel, I see you're a business coach in Chicago. Came across your profile. Would love to connect. Just something personal, icebreaker-ish. That's how I do it, right? I run a search for business coaches in Chicago, New York, whatever. Connect. The real magic is in the next message. Once you accept my invite, then I send you a follow-up note. Hey, Joel, so glad we got connected. And then I ask a question. Part 1, curious, dash, are you looking to, are you interested in, are you trying to get XYZ? So what I'll say is, hey, Joel, so glad we connected. Curious, are you looking to find clients here on LinkedIn? Question mark. Then I pivot to the offer. If so, comma, I have a great free webinar that covers from A to Z how to get clients on LinkedIn, period. Now I make the next part of the offer. If you'd like to see the webinar, just reply yes. And I put yes in all capital letters. Because remember, people are on their phone. It's quick. Give them a simple command. Hit thumbs up, hit yes, and I'll send you a link to the webinar. And then I say, I make it conversational, no pressure. If you're not interested, I say, no worries. Either way, have an awesome day. Done. I did not put the link in the message. I did not push them. I just left it there. And what I found, Joel, is I'll send 1,000 of these out a day. I'll have maybe 1 to 2 people go, quit spamming me. This is salesy. Like, what? Whatever. Okay. 1 to 2, maybe complaining. I'll have 100 to 150, so 10 to 15% instantly right back. Yes, I want to see the webinar. Okay. So I send them over to the registration page. Longer term, that grows to probably 40 to 50% because people aren't instantly responding in that hour or whatever it is, but it's a cumulative effect, right? Just like somebody might open your email 3 days later and say yes. And then of those people from LinkedIn that go on to the webinar, that attend, 3 to 5% will buy the $1,500 course. So what it's working out to is probably 1 to 2 sales a day on an automated webinar funnel. All the traffic's coming from LinkedIn. I'm not using my email list and wearing them out. I'm not spending money on Facebook ads. And by the way, I spent thousands of dollars on Facebook ads and got dismal results. And I used 3 different firms. I tried to do them myself. It just wasn't working. So out of necessity, I'm like, I got to find another way to get people on these webinars. I can't keep emailing my list, And with LinkedIn, you're never going to run out of leads, dude. There's 500 million people. Mm-hmm. There's always people to connect with. There's always new people that you can talk to and engage. And oh, by the way, Joel, I'm only connecting with the exact target perfect person who would want my service. Yep. If you're a business coach and you want to get clients easily, there's no better place than LinkedIn. If you're a consultant, if you're B2B, so they want this. It's helpful. And when you present that messaging in a way that is conversational, asks a question, asks permission, the Seth Godin permission marketing, then if you want it, here's the item of value. Let's build a relationship through my content. If I can get you on an automated webinar for an hour, we're in good shape, man. Mm-hmm. That's how it works.
So out of curiosity, do you use email marketing at all? So like if they sign up for your webinar and, if they sign up for your webinar, they're interested, like, do you put a huge focus on email marketing or follow-up with that? You do? Okay.
Yeah, because here's my number one thing. I'm playing in LinkedIn's digital sandbox. Dude, they could change the rules tomorrow, right? Yeah. And be like, we're going to charge you $1 for every message you send. Remember the Facebook outcry a few years ago with fan pages of, how dare they not let me reach my people anymore for free? My Facebook fans, I earned it. Here's the news. Like, they own the freaking sandbox. Like, you cannot build your house on somebody else's digital land. So I put an intense focus on building my email list because I own that forever. So when they sign up for the webinar, I use EverWebinar, which is a great automated webinar product that has, the if they do this, then do this, or if they do that, then send this. And then they get dumped. If they don't buy, I have Entreport and I dump them into a follow-up sequence, right? Delivering different tips and messages, warming them back up. Maybe I'll have a second go around at the offer at a higher price because they didn't buy during the webinar only. And then I keep them on my list, right? And I send them other stuff. And I have a lot of people then that come back and buy later, right? They just need more warming up. They need more content. The webinar was really good, but maybe the timing was wrong. Maybe they weren't ready, but I stay in front of them with the email. But yeah, so I would highly recommend anyone using it, get them off of LinkedIn, get them onto your turf, your website, your email list, the phone, whatever it might be.
Yep. So, okay. So you're sending 1,000 messages a day, turns into, and this is people who you've already connected with. So it's not like 1,000 cold.
No.
Yeah. So it's about, the ratio is about 90-10, meaning like 100 of those outbound messages requests goes to trying to build that new network.
I'm always trying to grow the number of connections. Yes.
Yep.
Huge.
So as you build that warm network, then you send out, 900 or so or 1,000 messages per day saying, hey, would you like some free content? Or would you like, would you be interested in some sort of end result? And that's going to tie into your webinar. So you get 100 or 150 of those people. So you're getting basically 100 to 150 new email opt-ins a day.
Yes. Yeah, because they sign up for the webinar.
Yep.
So now they're on my list. Yeah. So whether they go on the webinar and buy or not, they're on my list. So my email list is growing too. And so that is another key component of this. I'm running the automation tool right now, sending people a free copy of my best-selling book. They can go buy it on Amazon, but I also give it away as a lead magnet, like the whole book, and it's not a free plus shipping Russell Brunson deal. It's just the book, like a digital download. But I'm running that gets even higher results because it's a different type of ask. When I do like a book or a PDF template, something that's less time investment than a webinar, because people know that the numbers go up to 200, 300, 400 a day saying yes, because anybody will want a free template on improving their profile. Not everybody wants to get on an hour-long webinar. Yeah, there's lots of options, but growing the list is always focused.
Amazing, man. I love it. Valuable stuff. What else are we missing here with LinkedIn, right? Is it really like how difficult? All right. So here I am. I'm a newbie with outbound LinkedIn prospecting, right? It's probably going to take me a while to get up to 100 leads a day, right? I mean, how do I get started? Like I have not really dabbled too much in LinkedIn. So what would you recommend for me to get started?
First thing you got to do is build or clean your digital house on LinkedIn. That's your profile. Okay, so you've got to have a killer profile. It's got to be client facing. It's got to be targeted to a niche audience or 2 or 3. It's got to use that client facing formula, what we do, how we do it, who we serve, what others say, etc. Because the first thing people are going to do is look at your profile. So before you put all this time and energy into prospecting and talking to people, if you have a lousy profile, you're going to lose it, right? So start with a killer profile. It's very easy to do. It's not hard at all. The template I mentioned earlier is copy and paste, fill in the blank. Very easy, okay? Next, you just need to know how to do the prospecting. You got to understand LinkedIn search. If you understand how to do like Boolean searches, or I don't know how somebody trolled me online and was like, that's not how you pronounce it. It's not Boolean. I don't care what it's called, Joel. The thing with the little quote marks and or, right? And one question I get all the time is, do I need a premium LinkedIn profile, right? Should I have a paid subscription? Yes. And the reason is get like Sales Navigator or one of the paid level subscriptions, premium, because you get a lot more reach and a lot more info on your prospects. Here's where LinkedIn is. They own an incredible amount of information about almost 600 million people on planet Earth that can be sorted, sliced, and diced exactly how you want it. You know how you do Facebook ads? Gender, age, job type, marriage. This is exactly what you do with LinkedIn from a B2B standpoint. Job title, how many years at the job? Like you can get super, super ninja. Number of employees, company type, industry, whatever, hobbies, interests, college. Like that's part 2, the prospecting. And then part 3 is just understanding the messaging, which is where almost 99% of people fail, right? Because they don't know how to talk to people like on LinkedIn, right? They think, well, I have to be really formal and prim and proper because this is LinkedIn. I can't have a personality. Or they just get salesy and spammy and it backfires. You've got to treat it like a virtual coffee meeting, right? Hey, Joel, I see you went to this college. Are you a fan of the sports team? Are you watching right now as we're recording this, it's March Madness. Are you a big fan of the March Madness pool? Like, how are your picks? Like, just being a little chatty, breaking the ice, being human.
Being relevant.
Being relevant, but also something you're big on, adding value right away, right? So asking questions and adding value, being a curious student. Are you even looking to use LinkedIn to get clients? If they write me back no, guess what I do? I change my tag to no messages. I don't bother them anymore. They're not a prospect. It's not a big deal, right? I just move on to the other ones. So you don't spam people because they say, no, I'm just on here. I'm retired. My daughter told me to set up an account. Oh, okay. Well, you're off my list. Like, I'm not going to worry about you. But if the guy goes, yeah, I am interested, then here's my content. I'm going to go get you on my email list. So it's not hard. It's really not. And that's what I've put into the course in the book. It's just people getting over the mental hurdle, Joel, of I've never used it. It seems boring. It seems hard. There's a lot you can do with LinkedIn. You don't have to do it all. Just stay laser focused, right? Laser focused on those three things, and you're going to have great success.
Love it, man. Amazing stuff. So obviously the profile is the most important thing, and talking to people as if they're human. Right?
Yes.
Out of curiosity.
Targeting. Yeah.
And targeting. I've done lots with Facebook ads. That was kind of like my golden child for a while, and we're looking at other sources, right? But it's like it's one of the sexy things about Facebook ads. Like, oh, you can get super, super targeted. But it's like, I'm starting to see that you can get way more targeted and way more available information on LinkedIn.
For free, Joel. For free.
Yep.
How's free working for you?
Yeah. I mean, and so the other thing that like you could probably do, right, is like once you start to build the list, either way, it's whether you collect their email address or even on LinkedIn, you could probably take that and upload it into Facebook, right? So now you can, if you want,
you can create lookalike audiences. You can create a LinkedIn Connections audience. I will say, don't do this. This is a huge faux pas. I know you wouldn't do it, and your listeners are probably smart enough they would never do it. But I do have a lot of people that are like, it seems so tempting. I'm going to export all 18,000 connections and stick their emails in to my CRM and blast them with marketing. Like, no, get permission. Like, offer them a lead. Like, I get offers from realtors in Australia who exported my name off LinkedIn and think I want to buy a flat in Sydney. I'm like, dude, what?
Yeah.
But you can create lookalike audiences. You can export all their data. You can really get a good feel for, how you want to market on other platforms with it. Sure.
Amazing, dude. Yeah. I mean, now that like my mind's starting to expand, I think I've got like 2,500 connections, but like I haven't even reached out to them in long time, like at least a year and a half. And because I was, I don't know, I outsourced it all. And anyway, bad news, but it is what it is, right? Yeah. So like I'm starting to see for me personally, like we're always trying to grow. Like we've got a new product that we just launched called the Webinar Vault, which like I'm the perpetual curious students. Like I'm downloading and watching lots of other webinars. I'm critiquing them to help other people improve their webinars. And so, and we've included our course as a free bonus for right now. So, for like $97 a month, like they're going to get everything that they possibly need to be successful with webinars. And so like, I'm going to be creating a webinar to sell that as well. I have to be congruent. And it's like, I can see this just crushing it. Like quite honestly, like, I'm
going to do your personal plan on the podcast, selfishly for you. Ready?
Yeah.
Step 1, we're going to rewrite your profile using my template. What we do, we help these audiences with webinars. Step 2 is we're going to get you Meet Leonard, which is like dirt cheap. It's like 10 or $20 a month. We're going to install the CRM. It's going to import your 2,500 connections. We can instantly mass tag all of them. So I can type in the term business coach into Meet Leonard. It will pull up everyone Joel's connected to who has the title business coach. I hit a button. He now has all those guys tagged as business coaches. I can type in entrepreneur, pull up all of Joel's connections that are an entrepreneur and tag them. Now we're ready to go message them, right? Now you have your little pockets of, 500 business coaches, 38 entrepreneurs, 75 CEOs. You've sorted out the friends and family that you don't want to message to. Now, step 3 is you send out a one-on-one blast. You don't have to do any backstory or sorry, I'm going to just go like talk to them. Just be like, hey, Joe, hey, Sally, hey, Fred, curious, are you using webinars at all right now in your marketing? ? If so, I've actually got a great new program I'm putting out called the Webinar Vault. If you're interested in learning more about it, just hit yes, and I'll shoot you a link to all the info. If you're not, no worries, right? Cheers, Joel. That's one approach. The other approach you can use if you want to get even really ninja is have you heard of the one question survey from David Siteman Garland?
No, I haven't.
Another online course creator guy.
Yeah, I know DSG. Yeah.
Yeah, the Uncle DSG. I love his stuff.
Yeah.
I use this on LinkedIn all the time I ask my connections what they want. So I'll say, hey, Sally, hey, Fred, hey, Steve, had one quick question for you. What do you want to know more about webinars? If you have a second, hit reply here and let me know. And then instantly you get all this intelligence from your existing connections. I don't even know how to start. How do I get traffic? I wish there was a webinar vault out there I could just subscribe to for $97 a month, right? That might be one answer. So there's all these different ways. But the key is, Joel, you're engaging them one-on-one. Relationships never go out of style. Ad trends go out of style. You know what I'm noticing on my Facebook feed with ads? People like literally jumping up and down on camera, waving at me, trying to stop my scroll. Okay? Like
so annoying. I hate that.
Yeah, because I'm not paying attention. You're interrupting me still. LinkedIn is not interruption marketing. It's relationship marketing. We're connected. I have one-on-one access to you, just like email. I'm asking you a nice question, conversational, friendly. You're telling me you're opting in by saying, yes, I want more. And off we go.
It's awesome.
There you go. I just built it all. Let's go, Joel.
Yeah. I mean, like, so I've heard of the one question. I mean, it's been framed as something different, but I know that one question survey.
Yeah.
I follow the same. So when I launch offers on, this is kind of getting really deep, but it's very much related to what you're talking about. When I launch offers on social media, I want my audience to tell me what they want to buy. Like, I want them to create the offers for me. So it's like, hey, I did that with the Webinar Vault, like quite literally last week. I was like, hey, it was the same setup, but it's like, hey, at this rate, I'm looking at 10 to 15 webinars per month, right? For my clients or for, my students or whatever it is. But I'm looking at 10 to 15 webinars per month. And I go deep and blah, 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 blah. And I've never really thought about this before, but, would anybody be interested in seeing how I tear down these webinars? And everyone's like, hell yeah.
Yeah, right.
And if I didn't get a response, I wasn't going to create the product. I had the idea, but it's like, I want them to be pulling it out of me. It's like, all right, fine. You guys all said, you guys said you wanted it. So here we go. I'll sell you something.
I love it.
Very similar, but yeah, getting the market data first. So, but dude, all right. So I want to recap all this for my podcast listeners right now. So the beauty with if you could get 100 new leads per day for free, qualified leads, sign me freaking up, 100%. I'm in, especially for a webinar, whether I'm generating phone calls or whatever. Oh my goodness. I don't think I would have to spend $1,000 a day roughly on Facebook ads to get 100 new leads. And that's just, you want help selling your program, John? That's how I would position it. It's how much would you have to pay right now for 100 new leads on Facebook, which is probably the number one competitor? It's average lead right now, $10, $15, whatever. Even at $5, right? That's $500 a day, or $1,000 a day. If you got that, then this course is a no-brainer. But I want to divert that ad spend over to LinkedIn, and I guarantee you're going to get a much better ROI, because you can't get a better ROI than free leads.
Yes.
Boom.
Yes. Preach, Brother Joel. Glory. The LinkedIn Evangelism Hour with Joel Irway.
Yeah. Yes. Okay,
Another
John.
Convert. Yeah.
So that's amazing. All right. So we covered everything about how to cold outreach, all the tools, Meet Leonard, which is your CRM. Where can people go find you, connect with you, learn more about your LinkedIn prospect? I'm going to recommend this for everybody, because this is just you need to be doing this. This is a no-brainer.
Well, to recap the 3 steps: profile, prospecting, and then I call it the profiting. It's the messaging.
Mm-hmm.
I want everyone listening to start with the profile. So I want you to go to linkedinriches.com/Joel. Okay.
Awesome.
That's going to take you to my template. It's a lead magnet. It's an opt-in. You'll get on my list. You get all my best tips. That's where I want you to start, because once you build out that profile with my copy and paste formula, now you're going to feel confident to go out and prospect, and away we go. So start there. LinkedIn, or if you want a free copy of the book, just go to linkedinriches.com. You can download it there too. Either one.
Awesome. So we'll share that with everybody. I mean, it's unbelievable stuff. I'm very much excited. So where else can they go connect with you? Like they find you on LinkedIn, or like where else can they?
Yeah, find Nemo on LinkedIn. Go to linkedin.com. It's John Nemo. Where else? I mean, I'm on Twitter, but I spend all my time on LinkedIn, obviously, and on the website. So I would say hit me up on LinkedIn. Tell me you heard me on Joel's podcast. I always love to know how people find me so I can have context for a conversation. And then I'll be like, man, you listen to that whole thing? You're great. Like, then we'll be off and running. Yeah, that's where I would say hit me up on LinkedIn, John Nemo, or LinkedInRiches.com.
Awesome. John, I had a blast. I know everyone who's listening right now on my podcast, like they're going to love this. They're going to go flood your inbox. They're going to go sign up for that stuff because quite honestly, 100 leads a day, anybody can blow their business up. I mean, whether you're a coach or a consultant or you've got a course, right? I mean, this is a no-brainer. So I appreciate you kind of sharing the secrets and sharing your strategies with us on our episode today. And for everyone else listening, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you go connect with John, and we'll see you on the next episode. Take care.
Thanks so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we look forward to giving you the next one. You can also follow and watch the behind-the-scenes look at how I'm personally launching a brand new 6- and 7-figure product from scratch at soldwithwebinars.com/TV. And if you'd like to come hang out with other fellow experts, join our Facebook group at soldwithwebinars.com/experts. Join us next time, and I'll see you there.